Freedom Munitions X-DEF 380 ACP. It's Freedom Munitions self-defense line here. It's got a pretty gnarly looking hollow point on there. So we're going to do some testing out here. And we can do some chronograph testing. 933. We can do some ballistics gel testing. We can do some accuracy testing. But I think all anybody really wants to see is some pyrotechnics. 2 cans of butane right here. And I'm gonna try and hit it right here so that hopefully it goes through both cans. So the test firearm right here is going to be the Ruger LCP Max. My fire is getting a little out of hand here, but it's about to get really out of hand. All right. Well, that was a bust. Let's try it again. It's their line of self-defense rounds. I want to go ahead and test it out today. So we're also going to be comparing it to some popular brands on the market, one of which is maybe not so popular, but definitely a comparative price point to the X-DEF, but this is the Norma MHP. And then what I usually carry, Hornady Critical Defense. The Norma MHP is an 85 grain bullet. This right here is a 90 grain bullet. And the X-DEF is a 95 grain bullet. So it's already looking pretty good on paper, but we'll see how it does in comparison to the other 2 rounds. Our test gun is going to be the Ruger LCP Max, and we'll start off with chronograph testing. I think it's the first 5 rounds right here are the Freedom Munitions X-DEF. We're going to start with that. Second 5 rounds is going to be the Norma MHP. And then on this magazine I have 5 rounds of the critical defense, the Hornady Critical Defense. So let's go ahead and start with that X-DEF. We're at about 5 yards. I did not see that coming. All right, let's go and see what we got. So definitely a light primer strike. That's interesting right there. I'm going to try and fire that same round. This is actually the first round that I put through this gun right here with or the first round of the X-DEF I put through this. So that's not a good sign. Okay. .902, 915, 933. Duplicate, 933. So besides that very first round, that was definitely a bad primer. We're going to go ahead and do the Norma MHPs. Yep, that's what I got in here. $9.39. 1009. 980. 988. 978. Alright, now let's go ahead and do the Hornady Critical Defense. Keep in mind that the MHPs are an 85 grain bullet. The X-DEF is a 95 grain bullet, so that makes sense that the MHPs are traveling faster. But now we're going to do right in between a 90 grain bullet. This is going to be the Hornady Critical Defense. .868. 897. Duplicate 897. 916. And 851. It's quite a spread with that critical defense. So, very surprisingly to me, that first round had a bad primer. So it's not a good sign right now for these Freedom Munitions X-DEF 380s. That was actually, those were the very first 5 rounds that I've fired out of the Ruger LCP Max. So hopefully that'll be the last issue, but I guess we'll see. Alright, so now, since the chronograph testing is all done, let's load up 1 round of each of the 3 different kinds that I'm comparing and see how the X-DEF compares to the other 2 with some ballistics gel testing. So first we're going to do the Freedom Munitions XTP bullet. Underneath it is the Hornady Critical Defense, and then underneath that is the Norma MHP. This gel block is only about 12 inches long, and so there's a good chance it's going to go straight through it, so that's why I've got the water jug behind it. But to add a slight bit of realism to it, very slight bit, we're going to do 2 layers of denim. This is just a pant leg right here, so it's 2 different layers. Put in the shirt here. We're going to do a layer of t-shirt as well. So I'm going to shoot the Freedom Munitions right there in the middle. From about, I don't know, 3-4 feet away, something like that. Alright, going hot. Oh my gosh. Those Freedom Munitions, they've got some really bad primers. I'm going to try that one more time. But I'm starting to think that this is not going to be a viable self-defense option. I want to have to keep racking a new round in. Right in the middle. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. All right, I'm so glad I got this on camera. That's still a hot weapon right there. But it is, it's right here. I can't believe that just happened. I mean, it bounced. It went through for sure. And just bounced off the water jug. There's a very slight indentation where it bounced off, but there's no water coming out. That is crazy. And it spread. Oh, I mean, it sucks that these have bad primers. I hope that this will focus. But look at that. It completely mushroomed out. And there's a little tiny bit of denim and t-shirt in there. Just in case this doesn't focus, I'm gonna show you guys inside, but I mean, this had a really nice, mushroom, whatever you call it, whenever the hollow point expands. Really nice expansion. All the little leaves of the hollow point folded over. So that's really good for the bullet itself. However, the primers, I am not too happy about that right now. And then we'll take a look at the cavity here in a second, but yeah, now we're gonna do I'm gonna aim slightly to the right and do the Hornady critical defense. This time we caught the bullet. I could see it, it's right here. It's hard to tell, but that looks like pretty good expansion as well. And now right to the left, we're gonna do the Norma MHPs. Shucks. Oh, we got it. I thought I aimed too low. But it is right here, and it did not expand very well. So, yeah, this water is barely leaking out there. Before I cut out that critical defense, I'll just show you guys this Norma right here. Looks like a graboid from Tremors. I hope it's focusing. But it didn't really expand very well. I still would not want to get shot by this, but that Freedom Munitions definitely expanded really well compared to this one. And from what I can see in the gel right here, it looks like that the critical defense definitely expanded pretty well. Oh wow. It's just right here on top. And yeah, we have really good expansion. That little red plastic piece was sitting there right on top. And I didn't notice any denim or t-shirt in this, but it had very good expansion. Obviously there's no denim or t-shirt in it because of the little red plug that's on the FTX bullets. However, the the round still expanded really nicely. Just in case that doesn't focus very well, you guys will see it inside. So, actually, where did the Freedom Munitions bullet go? Nice. Got it. And then we'll also take a look at the gel inside, but you can see the all three tracks there. The MHP was definitely a little low. It kind of came out on the table right there, but still it actually went all the way through. It bounced off the table and then came out right there. But yeah, the critical defense actually did not go all the way through, but the Freedom Munitions did. So you guys will see this inside as well. Alright, we're going to start 10 yards. So those light primer strikes, I do want to blame the ammo, but full disclosure, I did put the M-Carbo spring kit in here. Since doing that, I've fired easily like 500 rounds through this LCP Max, and I've only had one light primer strike, and that was on Norma Range and Training. But with Norma MHP as well as Hornady Critical Defense, I haven't had any light primer strikes at all. So I'm kind of at this point blaming the ammo, even though I did rechamber that one round and it went off the second time around. I don't know. I might just go ahead and give this ammo the benefit of the doubt, and I'll probably come out here and do like a reliability test with a different 380 that I have and see if I experience any light primer strikes with that. But for right now, we're going to start at 10 yards and just see how the accuracy is real quick. I'm going to fire 5 rounds and then push it out to 25 yards. Okay. These light primer strikes, I'm telling you. I don't know what to really think. That was definitely a pretty good hit on the primer. I'm going to try and rechamber it. This sucks because I really wanted this stuff to work really well because it's way cheaper than Hornady Critical Defense. It's Hornady Critical Defense is about $1 a round. This was like 60 cents a round, so almost half the price. But I guess we can kind of see why. Yep. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to scrap the accuracy testing for right now. And I'm going to maybe just go ahead and put the factory springs back into this LCP Max right here and see what happens. All right, we're back out on literally the next day, and it's about twice as warm, but also twice as windy today. So bear with the wind in the background. But I was gonna replace the springs. It's very windy, hang on. So I was gonna replace the springs back to factory condition, but I remember that M Carbo is so smart, and they included a lighter oh my god, it's windy. They included a 10-pound hammer spring as well as a 12-pound hammer spring. So the 10-pound hammer spring is obviously for a lighter trigger pull. The 12-pounder is what I just put in here, so hopefully give it a slightly stronger hit against that firing pin. It's not a 12-pound hammer or a trigger pull. It's actually about a 4-pound trigger pull right now, but that just means that it has a 12-pound hammer spring, so it's hitting that firing pin with about 12 pounds of force, up a couple pounds from that 10-pounder. So hopefully that'll take care of the issue of the light primer strikes. So I've got both of these 12-round mags right here loaded up, and we're going to go ahead and just do a quick reliability test at 10 yards. All right. I think that might have taken care of the problem. I think we're back in business.
Mr. Hammond, I think we're back in business.
All right. So let's go ahead and continue the accuracy testing. We're going to go and push it out to 25 yards. All right, 10 more rounds loaded up. We're at 25 yards. Obviously, I'm not really going for groups, just going for hits. So I'm going to try and push it back as far as I can, maybe even out to 100 yards, but definitely 50, just to see if I can still get consistent hits on target. So we're going to start here at 25 with 10 rounds. Okay, not looking too promising, is it? All right, let's try that one more time. All right. So I think it's shooting slightly to the left. we got that wind blowing to the left as well. I don't really think that the wind's going to affect too much, especially at 25 yards. But I don't know, maybe the sights are just slightly off. Definitely shooting to the left. Yeah, I tried aiming on like the right hand shoulder on that last shot. So let's go ahead and push it back to 50 and do another 10 rounds. All right, out at 50 yards, and I'm really happy with that 12-pound hammer spring, because we haven't had any light primer strikes, so hopefully that took care of that problem. And this X-DEF is starting to look like a viable self-defense option. You know, if my threat was at 50 yards, I wouldn't be trying to take shots at it with something like this. I would most likely be running the other direction. But just in case if I have to, I want to see if I can hit it 50 yards. And we got 11 rounds loaded up. One more for good measure. Yeah, it's hitting pretty low. I'm gonna have to aim high. Hot brass down the shirt. Okay. Oh my gosh. I think it fell out behind me. That went right down my shirt. Out of 11 shots, and that wind is killing me. I could definitely blame the wind if I wanted to, but I'm not going to blame the wind. It might be affecting it a little bit, but both of the shots I did hit slightly to the left, and that wind is blowing hard to the left. But anyways, like I said, I wouldn't really be taking shots at 50 yards with this. So let's go ahead and push it back up to 10 yards and do a couple mag dumps. Holy cow. You guys still there? I almost blew the camera over. Alright, so we're at 10 yards, back at 10 yards, and I've got 3 mags loaded up. So, 2 12-rounders and a 10-round. If you carry the 1 and the 2 and the 3, that's 34 rounds. So, quick little reliability test. I gotta say, I think I've changed my mind about that Freedom Munitions X-DEF. Sounds like a rapper's name, X-DEF. Anyways, but I've definitely changed my mind on it now that I've put the 12-pound M-Carbo hammer spring into this Ruger LCP Max. I think I'm gonna give it some more chances and buy some more of it. I only bought 2 boxes. It's nice it comes in 50 rounds per box instead of your usual self-defense rounds that come in 20 or 25 rounds a box. And you know, like I said, it's like basically half the price of most of the really good self-defense rounds out there. So anyways, enough talking out here and enough with this wind. Let's get back inside and take a closer look at it. All right, everybody. So I'm just going to do a quick run through of the close-up here because there's no reason why an ammo video needs to be 30 minutes long. So philosophy of use, POU, thank you nothing fancy. Basically it comes down to price versus performance. Essentially you're getting the same performance for about 60% of the price of various brands on the market, especially when you take advantage of LAX and Freedom Munitions frequent free shipping specials when you spend like $200 to $250, somewhere around there. So let's just talk about LAX and Freedom Munitions real fast. If you don't know, they're obviously a website, laxammo.com and then freedommunitions.com. I think it's their sister websites basically. So it's like essentially the same prices, the same brands, all that kind of stuff. This right here though is from Freedom Munitions, and LAX as well as Freedom Munitions, they do reloads and they also have factory new ammo. So I'd actually argue that out of the 3 rounds that we tested, this X-DEF performed the best. It was slightly slower than the MHP, but the expansion was way better, which created a much wider wound channel. So let's check out the gel real quick. Let's see here. So it'd be like this, right here in the middle, which has a pretty good wound channel. You can see the middle one was the Freedom Munitions X-DEF. This one on the left, which this is upside down right now, but was on the right hand side. This is the critical defense, both of which have really good wound channels, throughout the first 3-4 inches, something like that. And as a matter of fact, the Freedom Munitions, that X-DEF, kind of has a pretty good wound channel all the way out to about maybe 8 inches. But this MHP right here, I did hit it a little low, but it didn't really expand too much. You can see the wound channels definitely thinner compared to the X-DEF and the critical defense. So yeah, just wanted to show you guys this real fast. The critical defense came to right about here, but the other two went out the back. So yeah, jelly. And just to go over the pros, I guess, over the critical defense, it had better expansion than the critical defense, faster velocity. Just want to note too that the X-DEF is heavier at 95 grains versus 90 grain critical defense. It had better penetration due to its faster velocity than the critical defense, and it was much cheaper. The critical defense is like $1 around. This guy right here. And it's a really good self-defense round, obviously, but at 60% the price. I mean, look at that gnarly hollow point right there. I think it's wicked. But the expansion, of each bullet, I guess let me just show you what the normal looks like to start off. It's kind of a hollow point, but it's, I don't know what they're really thinking when they designed this because it does not expand very well. You can see it has only like 4 prongs. There we go. And the 4 prongs didn't really expand too much. They kind of did, but we'll actually see what the difference is on the calipers. I do want to show you that this is the critical defense expansion, which was very good and very uniform all the way around. There's that little red piece right here. And then I think that a wider expansion would be the X-DEF, this stuff. And as you can see, a little bit of denim and t-shirt in there. So let's go ahead and measure them real quick. Little trusty pair of calipers. And we're going to do this in inches. So at the widest part of the X-DEF, this would probably be about right here. We got just about a 1/2 inch, 0.512. And then with the critical defense, I think that's probably the widest part. There we go. Just barely wider. Or the X-DEF is just barely wider. So this is just under a 1/2 inch. So yeah, I'd say better expansion goes to this guy right here. That Freedom Munitions X-DEF. So reliability actually seems really good with this stuff. After switching, of course, to the 12-pound hammer spring, and you can see right here is the 10-pound hammer spring that I removed out of this LCP Max right here. And we are not chambered, but we are loaded because it is semi-hot, I guess, as one would say. It's not completely hot, but it is my main carry, so you know it's always got a full magazine right there. But anyways, yeah, reliability was 100% after I swapped out the hammer springs. So are you going to get light primer strikes with a factory hammer spring? Probably not. But if you go down to the 10-pounder that I have right there from M Carbo, then as you can see, yeah, you're going to have light primer strikes. And compared to the critical defense and the MHP, which have never had a light primer strike, you know, is that a big deal? Probably not. If it works, it works. So right now, for me, this X-DEF is working. And but like I said, it definitely needs more testing. So anyways, after about 200 to 300 rounds, not 200 to 300, 200 to 300 rounds without any failures, I'd probably start carrying this X-DEF right here. I like it. It checks all the boxes. It's great expansion, good velocity, great penetration, and about half the price of the competition. So you can shoot it twice as much. So I guess that's about it. Thanks for watching.